The reason the New Testament uses the word good news, gospel, to explain the story of Jesus is because the good news of the gospel is that the God that many of us have spent our life searching for is actually searching for us. And the story of human history is a story of God encountering people. If you look at the biblical story, you go all the way back. Like all these different stories in the Bible, what they are is they're stories of how God met people in the midst of the chaos and the brokenness of their lives. See, again, you and I, for a lot of it, we've been shaped by modernism, which is a way of thinking that came out of the Enlightenment. And one of the things modernism has done to the Bible is it's taught us to, like, when we read the Bible, look for principles. What are the principles you can apply to your life that'll make your life better? And I'm not saying there's not principles in the Bible. There are principles about how to live in relationships or how to be parents or how to use or view wealth or money. Like there are principles. But the heart of the biblical story is not principles, it's stories. It's stories of how God met people. The story of Abraham is the story of a guy who comes from an idol-worshiping family, and out of nowhere, God meets him and says, here's what I want you to do. And it's the story of how God continues to meet Abraham on the chaotic journey of Abraham's life. And then the story of Moses is how God meets Moses while Moses is out with his sheep one day. And all these different stories, Esther and Ruth and David and John and Matthew and Mark and Mary Magdalene, they're all stories. These are all stories of how God met people. The stories in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, the books that we call Gospels, are stories of how God met people in the person of Jesus in the midst of their pain and their grief and their loss and their brokenness and their sin and whatever. It's all these stories of how God, on his own initiation, how God sought out and how God met people and what happened when God met people amongst the chaos of their life.